of the Week preview show.
Okay.
Good evening and welcome to another season of high school football here on UTV44. I'm Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, my friend.
Yeah, my man.
Season's upon us.
Yes, it is.
We have not seen each other since the last game. No, we've seen each other during the course of the offseason.
Not that much.
Yeah, we are here at Metro PCS. We're on Airport Boulevard, 7335 Airport Boulevard. We'll be at different locations all throughout the high school football season, getting ready for our games here on Friday night. And we've got so much to talk to as we get ready. We'll have Coach Ben Blackman here as well. Coach Caleb Ross from McGill will be here also. But, I mean, let's just talk about the game to start the season here on UTV44. I mean, it's not the biggest game in the state. Like, I think really we could argue this is one of the biggest games for high school football in the nation that we played tonight.
You have an argument if you want to make that statement for sure. And here's what I think is so great about this. You know where we are. Mobile, Alabama, the Deep South, Mobile, Baldwin County. People love football. They can't wait for football. They're kind of waiting maybe a little bit on Alabama and Auburn, but 2 weeks in advance of that, you've got not just a football game,
right.
Like you said, maybe one of the marquee football games in the nation. So I know that we need to be ready because the audience is going to be large. I know these teams are going to be ready. I had a chance to visit with both Coach Caleb Ross and Coach Ben Blackman. You know, these teams are experienced, they're talented, they're competitive, they expect to win, they're very well coached. And as good as these offenses are, we could have a game where we're waiting to watch people get in that end zone. It won't be very easy. So
McGill and Spanish Fort are match up here tonight on UTV44. 7A defending champions, McGill, Tulane. 6A defending champions, Spanish Fort. I mean, just that matchup right there, the two biggest classifications that we have in the state of Alabama. They'll be battling one another. You've got Spanish Fort. They've won 25 in a row on the road. They've won 15 in a row overall, which is the longest winning streak in Alabama high school football right now. I just can't, I mean, we cannot overstate how big this game is.
Well, it's funny. Spanish Fort was the school that kind of came out of nowhere, mushroomed, and it was years ago, maybe 6, 7 years ago. We hadn't seen them yet. We were like, what's going on at Spanish Fort? We finally got a chance to see them in a playoff game against Viger, and we saw a gritty team that won a game in Pritchard, and we thought, they've got something going on here. On the McGill side, conversations we had many years ago, because we've been doing this now 16 years. We thought, boy, if McGill ever really gets it together and they are committed to having a great football season, program, team, they got a shot. Well, it all culminated last year. Not just a great season, but a state championship for McGill Tulane. So these programs are both sky high, and if you could be sky high and aiming higher, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, McGill ranked #1. They've never been ranked #1 in school history. They're ranked #1 coming into the game this week, so much to talk about. And the one thing I think that I want you and I to talk about a little bit here, and we'll address it with both coaches, though, but you got to kind of tip your hats to both of the coaches for scheduling this game. I mean, I mean, this is really a daunting task for each school to open the season scheduling such a powerhouse.
Yeah, realizing what they've got the rest of the season. We know 6A and Region 1 is really, really rugged. And obviously when you get up to 7A, all the big teams, and a lot of these teams, I won't say are necessarily loaded. Some of the coaches will tell you they are, talking about the other guy, of course.
Right.
Like a Murphy, like a Theodore. There's a lot of good talent,
Baker,
a
right
lot
up
of
the
good
road
teams.
from where we're at, yep.
Baker might be ready for a big bounce back year too.
Yeah, we can't wait to get the season started. We're going to talk all about tonight's matchup, McGill and Spanish Fort, to open up the 2016 season here on UTV44. When we come back, Ben Blackman, the coach of the Toros, will join us, and we'll get ready for tonight's big matchup between Spanish Fort and McGill here on UTV44. Jim Cox, Dan Brennan back here at Metro PCS 7335 Airport Boulevard in Mobile. We'll be bouncing around at all their different locations. We got one on Spring Hill, one on Highway 98 in Daphne. We'll be bouncing around those locations throughout the high school football season here as we get ready for our big matchup to open the season tonight. McGill playing host to the Spanish Fort Toros, defending 7A champs, going up against the defending 6A champs. Ben Blackman, the head coach of the Toros. Thomas Johnston, who will be, this is 14th year starting. It seems like he's been playing a long time.
Well, he's already been inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Been playing a long time for the Toros. We can't wait to talk about him. But Ben, we were just talking, you said, boy, it just seems like we were doing the state championship game, and now all of a sudden, week 1 is suddenly upon you.
Yeah, it has been a fast year. It's just flown by, you know, very enjoyable year. But
the summer's flown by, put in a lot of work, you know, and so here we are, ready to kick it off.
You know, a team like Spanish Fort is obviously used to winning games. You win, you win, you win. You come to the end of the season, you win again. Now a team's got to find the motivation because there's not a next up, really.
Yeah.
There's a next season out there. But you had to get these guys, rally them all over again.
Yeah, you basically had to break them down in the off season and start over and let them know mentality-wise that 2015's gone. You know, now it's 2016, and you know we put in a lot of work at Spanish Fort, and you know it's hot, and we get after it. Our kids absolutely compete as hard as anybody I've ever been around at practice. And so when you know they're doing that at practice, you know they're going to compete in the games on Friday night. And so that's the beauty. And I think that's really what makes Spanish Fort special.
Obviously, at this time of year, when you're talking about getting kids refocused, won a state championship, where do we go? You got to lean on guys who are your leaders. And I know this guy right here is one of your guys who you've counted on since you've been there. He's been such a big part of the Toro's success, and you're expecting nothing but the same, I'm sure, from him this year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember coaching against him when he was in the 8th grade, and I said, oh, man, he's an 8th grader. Let's run at him. And that didn't help. That wasn't any good. You know, and so now I'm glad that I'm on that other side, you know, and being able to coach him. And he's just such a great kid, a great young man. And not only is he talented, he leads the right way. He leads, he encourages, and he gets his teammates to play hard with him. And that's the beauty of who Thomas Johnston is. And I'm very privileged to be that coach and be sitting in that situation, and glad he's on my sideline.
Yeah, I think that most coaches would dream to have a player of your ability and your character, and certainly your effort, which is always pretty amazing. Thomas, talk about, it seems to us like, boy, you've been at Spanish Fort and playing a long time. From your perspective, what does it feel like? It may feel like it's gone by a little quicker.
Definitely. I mean, it flew by. I mean, Coach Ross was my coach my 8th grade year, and I mean, the opportunities I've gotten from my coaches and just giving me a chance as an 8th grader and as a freshman, I mean, it's just awesome. I mean, I thank God every day for the opportunities he's given me. And I mean, I can't believe it's actually my senior year.
So what does it feel like going into you guys have played in so many big games. It's what you do. Do you just, what are you thinking about leading up to Friday night? How do you feel right now?
I mean, we're facing, the number one team in the state, and we're not going to make it bigger than what it is, but we're going to come out and we're going to be challenged and face adversity sometime throughout the game. And I mean, it's going to be a great show out.
Yeah, I think so too.
Does it being a senior now, and you talked about, playing as an 8th grader, a freshman all the way, do you feel different, do you feel different going into this, your final season as a Toro than maybe you felt in years past?
It looks different. You don't have the hair hanging out.
I know. Well, it's hot, Coach. It's so hot.
No, I've prepared myself growing up, but just being the guy, the leader, we have over 30 seniors this year, and it's a brotherhood that we have, and we know we don't want to let each other down. We don't want to be that Spanish Fort team, not go out remembered as everybody else did. So we're going to go out and we're going to fight every Friday night.
You talk about all the success you've had, and obviously going up against McGill Tulane. What do you, as the coach, you're looking at this McGill team. What's the first thing that jumps out at you when you're getting ready for tonight's game?
Well, I think that we're going to play probably the top-notch team in the state. At the highest classification. Coach Ross does an outstanding job. I've known Coach for a long time, and I respect everything he does in his program, from the way he runs it, the character, to the kids and how they play. They play the game. He's got great players, but his kids play it. You watch them play the game, and their kids are flying around just like I see our kids flying around. So it's going to be a great football game. They got a ton of weapons, and they didn't just win a state championship last year for any reason. And this very well could be coming into this season. You could probably see the best McGill Tulane team ever. After watching them go through the summer and all that. And so I really hats off to Coach Ross and what he's doing over there, and he's really building a great program.
I'm going to talk about when we have you on the last segment too, but talk about how this game came to be. Like, because it's you know, I know sometimes the more successful you are, it's harder to find opponents.
Yeah.
But the fact that you two were both ready to commit to make this game happen to open the season, I mean, we're super excited, and so are all the high school football fans.
Right, and I don't know if it was Caleb coming to me or me going to Caleb. I was coerced by Ben Thomas and Josh Bean in a parking lot, or what it was.
Now, when that happens, I mean, that's nobody likes that situation.
Sometimes I sit back going, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing agreeing to play these guys? And, you know, it's, but I think Caleb's trying to push his program to where they want to be, and we're trying to do the same thing. And I think that's the matchup that we want. Is at the end of the day, we're going to be good friends, and our kids are going to compete, and we want to get to the highest level, you know. And you know, I heard a long time ago, no one rises to low expectations. So you don't get any better playing people that you should be. You got to challenge yourself, and this is going to be a great challenge for us.
It's going to be like a playoff. It's going to be like a playoff game to open the season.
And I think that's what both of us realized when we set it up. You know, somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose, but at the end of the night, it's going to help us down the road, hopefully in November and December.
Yeah, no question about it. Well, we're excited. We're going to talk. Thanks so much for coming in, Ben. We'll see you out there on just in about 45 minutes when we kick things off. Thomas Johnson, his last year at Spanish Fort. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get the McGill side of the matchup tonight between the Toros and the Yellow Jackets right here on UTV44. Back here at the Metro PCS pregame show as we get ready to open things up here tonight on UTV44. McGill defending 7A champs, playing host to Spanish Fort, defending 6A champs. And like we just said, it will feel like a playoff game to start things off without...
like they say, nothing to see here.
Yeah. Oh, we just cannot wait for this kickoff. Cameron Bruner is with us here from the Yellow Jackets. We'll talk with him in a second. And Coach Caleb Ross, we have not had a chance to sit down and really talk with you since the great run last year. I wanted to ask you this. So at what point during the season last year as the coach did you kind of have that feeling when you kind of said, you know what, this might be the special year, this could be it? Was there a point you remember when that might have happened?
From a special year, you know, early on when we got some momentum, I thought we had a chance to be pretty good, but when I really thought we got a chance to win the whole thing, the way we played against Auburn in the playoffs, we beat them 42-3, and we really thought they were a good football team, and they were. We just one of those nights where everything worked for us. And I looked at it after that and said, we got a chance to be really special. And what I was most proud of is our kids were so focused. They were so zoned in on every detail we said, and I knew that they could stay that focused, they'd have a chance. And that's probably the real reason when I thought we had a good chance to go win it.
What a special moment. I mean, there's been so much talk for so long that, you know, why not McGill? Why is it? And then, you know, then it comes in. You're able to put it together. I mean, it really, like, I've got goosebumps just talking about it, because it's just what sports does to people, and those moments that, I mean, they are really something that will be with all of those kids, the McGill family, you, an entire lifetime.
That's right, it is special. And what you realize too, when you go compete in one of those games, you play in one of those games, how big the McGill family is in community. You have generations, I mean, four and five generations of people that graduated from McGill and Tulane, and man, you get all these emails, hey, we're class of 81, we're making the trip up to Tuscaloosa, class of 75, we're proud of you, coach. And you never realize the role you have, but you represent a lot of people when you're in the position of a head football coach. And we tell the kids that the whole time. Remember, when you step on that field and you put that McGill jersey on, you don't just represent yourself, you represent a whole community. And our kids really buy into that, and they're proud to be, you know, McGill, Tulane, and hopefully we can, you know, have that same type passion, same type hunger this year.
You know, when watching your team last year, what we saw certainly was a talented team, but man, they were so efficient. You know, they were so efficient, and you just rarely hurt yourself. When you had to get a big third down, there was never any panic. You just made plays. Now, this guy was only able to make plays part of the season.
That's right.
And your offensive line is really outstanding. He's a big part of it. Talk about Cameron and what it's going to mean for him coming back.
Well, a lot of things. First, I'm so proud of him coming back. You know, he was started last year, tore his ACL about mid-season, and he was one of our better players, hurt his knee. And I think, being truthful, he had some real down moments this offseason. There were some times when he was like, Coach, I just don't know. Man, this rehab's getting difficult. I just don't see light at the end of the tunnel. I said, stick with it, man. I ain't giving up on you. I'm planning on you starting for us next year. And he kept hanging in there, and finally he did, and he come out, and, man, he's been phenomenal. He's been a leader. He's always had that type of trait, and he plays the game the way it's supposed to be played. I don't look at it anymore, but I played center back in college about 70 or 80 pounds ago, and him being an O-lineman, man, I'm just proud to watch him play. He gets after it, and he finishes through the whistle. He brings a lot of energy, a lot of passion, and that's what I love about that guy right there.
You know, Coach Blackman was talking about with his team making sure they had the proper motivation to start the season, coming off the perfect year, being the state champions. Not a case for you. I mean, you really, there's so much motivation I can just tell is just pent up inside of you to get this season started.
Yes, sir. I'm, of course, really excited to get back in the game. I mean, last year having to watch it all, it was great, but I did wish I was part of it more, you know. Able to be out in the watching practice and stuff, seeing everybody else sweat and, you know, really bond with each other. I feel like I missed out on that a little bit, but coming in now, I feel like I've really come closer to everybody. I'm really excited to get started.
When you look at this, the way to open up the season going up against Spanish Fort, I mean, their defense, I mean, you've got a big challenge in front of you. That front seven, as Dan and I were talking about before the show, you know.
Could be as good as anybody in the state.
Yeah. Talk about your thoughts, what you're going to see tonight from the Toros.
I mean, Spanish Fort's defense definitely something to be concerned about, but every day at practice, I'm playing one of the best defenses in the state. I feel like I'm going to go out there, I'm going to see some really great guys, and I feel like my defense has prepared us for that.
Well, talk a little bit about, well, I mentioned it with Ben as well, about how this came to be, and from, you know, he was saying, you know, you really have to play great teams and it'll pay dividends in the playoffs. Whoever wins or loses, both teams will, you know, it'll pay dividends. What was your thought process in getting this game to open up the season?
Well, you know, we were looking for a big ball game, and me and Ben had mentioned it at some point back in maybe December, November, hey, maybe we should play. And but it was something we just, you know, we never could really put together. But we were looking for a team. We were looking to play somebody that plays with an edge like Spanish Fort. And man, what an awesome program. I was over there in 2012. I remember when Thomas started as an 8th grader. I was on that staff, and man, they play the game with such passion. And to me, the more we can put our kids against quality competition like that, it's like Ben said, it's going to prepare you for when you go play Phoenix City in the playoffs or Murphy in a couple weeks, a big ball game. And man, they play the game. That defense, wow, I mean, it's one of those things. You look at the type of, not only the great players, they play the game with energy and passion, man. They're great with technique up front. Thomas Johnson it seems like he makes every tackle. I mean, he's all over the place. He does.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
You know, we got our hands full. You know, but our kids are going to go compete, and we don't make it bigger than it is. They know that we're playing a quality opponent, but it's the next opponent, and that's the message we always preach. I know Coach Blackman's doing the same thing with his guys, that hey, win, lose, or draw, we got to move on and play the next opponent after this one. But, you know, we've put a lot of time, a lot of focus this week in preparing for Spanish Fort. We know it's going to be a challenge. We're excited, but that's why you play this. That's why you coach. That's why you get these kids in these type games. This is what high school football is all about. And I think at the end of the day, that's what me and Ben finally said, man, this is too good of a matchup. Just for in general, it's one of those things. I wish I couldn't coach. I wish I could go watch it. I wish I could stand on the
That's
sideline
us.
and
We
watch
got a good gig.
Yeah, man.
We got a good gig.
Come join us. Ben, we got room for you.
It ought to be exciting, and we're definitely looking forward to that.
All right, well, we can't wait. We're just minutes away from kickoff. When we come back, we'll have both coaches here. We've got a summer long of stupid questions to ask them to wrap things up here tonight. We're getting ready, Spanish Fort and McGill, to start the season here on UTV44. Cox, Dan Brennan back here in Metro PCS pregame shows. We get ready for kickoff about 10 minutes away between McGill and Spanish Fort here on UTV44. Coach Caleb Ross still with us. Coach Ben Blackman from the Toros.
Have we ever had 2 state championship coaches side by side, basically?
No,
I don't think so.
Yeah, certainly not to start the season, for sure.
Not from the year before.
Caleb just made a point in that last segment. I wanted to just get your thoughts on it as well. He said, you know, as big as this game is and maybe as daunting a task as both teams feel, but this is why you play. I mean, this is why you're a competitor. These are the moments that you really want to be a part of.
Oh, yeah, you relish in playing in games like this. I mean, games like the semifinals, the quarterfinals, and the state championship game. These are games that, you know, when we're done and we're sitting and we're done coaching, we're watching everybody else do it, we're going to sit on each other's porch and talk about games like this, you know, and that's what makes these kind of games special.
All right, so at the end of the show, if you're just first time joining us, so we always have these silly questions we ask.
Brace yourself, audience.
Yeah, no, I said these coaches are so taxed getting ready for the game. We didn't go too hard tonight, so we'll start with you, though, Coach.
Okay.
Oreos or Chips Ahoy?
Ooh, Oreos.
Oreos and milk.
Chips Ahoy.
Yeah, I kind of think more of a Chips Ahoy guy as well. If you had your own talk show, which I could very see, who would your first 2 guests be on that show?
Dan and Jim.
Oh, top that one, Coach Ross.
I'm done. There's no way.
Yeah. See, okay.
And by the way, that was a lie.
Yeah, that's
Nice
but it'd be a
job.
great show.
Yeah.
Especially if we could do it Hard Knock style. It'd really be great show. All right, so
You want Metro PCS or not?
Yeah, favorite band?
Oh, Eagles.
Eagles, Beatles.
Eagles.
All right.
Alabama.
Okay, you got one?
Alabama all-time country. Yeah, I was just up at that side of the state. It's really cool up there.
All right, cool. If you were to perform in the circus, what would you do?
See that?
Yeah,
You got the guy in the cannon.
Yeah, I feel like that half the time anyway.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah,
how about
I'm
you? What would
lost.
you do in the circus?
Lion tamer.
Be the lion tamer. All right, I got it. I got
You
it.
got Thomas right over
Ben's
there.
prepared.
All right, here we go. So, would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck?
Really?
Yeah, that's it.